Giordano, along with my co-host Todd Flesner of Opus Mortgage.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, how are you?
Terrific.
I'll let folks know that they can watch our show on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 p.m. and also Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m.
And if you miss it, set your DVR.
Yeah, absolutely. So how you doing?
Doing terrific.
Great. Business is good?
Yeah, things are great. The loan business it can be a little bit tough. We've talked about that on our show before, but
Right.
things overall are good.
Good.
So no
Great.
complaints.
That's good to hear. So you brought a guest?
I did. Yeah, I'd love to introduce folks to a friend of mine, Chris Roberts, and Chris is here from Critter Control. And
Nice to meet you.
And actually, Chris and I got to know each other a little bit better over this last year. Our sons played Little League ball together.
That's right.
And so we co-coached a team that actually from Milpitas here went on and represented Milpitas and won our district championship.
Terrific.
So we got champions here in Milpitas in baseball.
That's
That's
right.
great.
Thanks to Chris.
Todd.
Well, welcome, and thank you for taking time out so that you can tell folks about what you do. So I'll kind of open up. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about your background, maybe where you grew up, where you were educated.
Okay. So again, Chris Roberts with Critter Control of San Jose. I was born in Houston, Texas. I moved to Alaska when I was just a baby, back to Houston when I was 5, and then out here to Milpitas when I was 10. So I pretty much grew up in Milpitas and in the surrounding area. Went to elementary, middle school, and high school. Graduated from Milpitas High in 1991.
Nice.
Went to a couple semesters at Mission, then on to Ohlone and on to San Jose State. And then, of course, an inevitable workforce. So.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
glad you could come and share a little bit about that. So, Todd?
Yeah. So we know you're involved in the community. You volunteer as well with Little League, but we want to find out a little bit more about Critter Control and tell folks about what is Critter Control. What is it that you do? What services you provide? And
Sure.
so we'll hear about the critters.
Okay, be happy to. So what we are is we're a nuisance wildlife trapping company.
Mm-hmm.
So we come through, customer has a problem with, urbanized wildlife, raccoon, skunk, possum. We also do rodents, birds, snakes, pretty much anything except for bugs. They give us a call. We'll come out, figure out how they're getting in the house or under the shed or whatever the problem may be, why they're tearing up the lawn. Kind of educate the customer on what's going on, and give them a solution on how to fix it. That's pretty much what we do in a nutshell. I think what makes us special is definitely our customer service. We are full service. We're one of the only companies that, when it comes to rodents, will go into the attic and all the way into the crawl space. That's not very common these days. And as far as we're concerned, that's the only way you can solve the problem.
So, Milpitas in general, I mean, do we have a problem with
Yeah.
those type of animals?
Definitely. I mean, there's a lot of rodent issues. We have a lot of raccoon calls, a lot of possum calls in Milpitas. Also, pigeons are a big thing in Milpitas as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Terrific. Well, so you've got to have some specialized sort of licenses or background and training. Maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So all of our guys are certified wildlife specialists through headquarters of Critter Control, which is actually in Traverse City, Michigan. So they have to go through a pretty rigorous testing program to get that certification. And then we're all licensed wildlife trappers through the Department of Fish and Wildlife for California.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Yeah.
And so do they regulate then the industry, or is that sort of...
Fish and wildlife?
Yes.
Yeah. Trapping wildlife is kind of one of those in-between things where, although you can buy all the materials, say at Orchard Supply or Home Depot, it's actually illegal for someone to trap wildlife without a license.
Wow.
So the guys you see on Wild Justice, I don't know if you guys watch that show with the California Department of Fish and Game, they're the guys we deal with all the time.
So what you mentioned rodents.
Mhm.
I'm going to make a guess. Is that the most common problem, or what do you see?
Yeah, year-round rodents is kind of our mainstay. They don't really have a season. They're kind of always a problem. And it kind of comes from the fact that they multiply so fast. They're constantly multiplying. Where the bigger species, they maybe do once or twice a year. So yeah, rodents are definitely our mainstay. But like right now, the big one is raccoons. Raccoons and skunks.
Are they? That's a seasonal.
Yeah, they're two
looking
times
for
of the
water,
year. What they're doing is in areas where it gets cold enough, they'll hibernate. but they don't actually hibernate here, but they act like they're going to. So you'll see like the lawns will get torn up because they're going for the earthworms and the grubs and trying to fatten up. So that's kind of our big thing right now is raccoons and skunks.
Okay. You know, are the reasons why folks as homeowners ought to call you in as opposed to try to do it themselves? I mean, I know you mentioned it's not a legal sort of thing, but let's suppose somebody didn't know that. Why should they call critter control as opposed to try to self-help?
Well, I mean, it's one of the things is you need education in order to do it properly. It's not something that not everyone, what we could do can be taught to pretty much anyone, but you need to know what you're doing. If there's a safety issue, one of the biggest hazards with urbanized wildlife is that they they're not afraid of us as they should be. Out there in the wild, they just want to get away from you. Here, people will say, "Oh, I saw a raccoon. It was by my garbage cans, and it wasn't even afraid of me." Well, that's not a good thing. So that's why you really need a professional to come out and take care of it safely. Also, we also provide repair work, so we can troubleshoot where they're coming in the house and also repair those spots for you.
So I would guess, and this happened in my home, there was, I think it was a possum that had gotten in, but through the vents. I think they're screening
the foundation vents.
So you recommend that those stay secure, and also up in the attic areas, make sure that those areas are not accessible to.
Absolutely. I recommend walking around the perimeter of your house at least once a month, taking a look at all your visible foundation vents, your attic vents, and your E-vents. Those are the most common places where things can get in.
Terrific. So maybe tell us about an interesting call that you've received from a homeowner that's asked you to come out and help them with a problem.
Okay. Well, let's see. There's so many different ones. What I like to tell people is that most people think when they ask me that question that it's going to be an animal that did something weird or funny, and that does happen from time to time. But most often it's the people that are kind of unique and provide the funny story. I've got a good story. This wasn't really about a call, but I was sitting at a traffic light, and I had a coyote trap. Every once in a while, we'll trap coyotes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a fairly big trap. And sitting in the back of the truck, and the guy pulls up next to me and wanted to know if he could rent that to trap his ex-wife. And I told him he could give it a try, maybe throw a coach person in there or something. But that's probably the funniest thing that's ever happened to me.
That's great. Well, I was going to ask what is the most difficult critter to deal with, but I think we've already dealt with that question. So Chris, let me ask you. So you are different than, say, a pest control company.
Definitely.
And again, elaborate a little bit about what that different is.
So when I think pest control, which a lot of people do associate us with pest control companies, I think we're different in the fact that our customer service is number one. When you talk about big pest control companies, they're always going to want to sign you up to spray, no matter what your problem is. You call them out for rats, you call them out for raccoons if they happen to have a wildlife trapper. They're going to want to get you on that residual contract. We're not about that at all. We're about servicing the customer for what the problem they need. Now, when we show up, if we see an instance of something that can be addressed, we'll definitely let them know. One of the benefits of using our service is we go all the way through the attic and the crawl space. So I'll be able to identify the leak that you didn't know about, or the fact that there's termite issues in the attic that maybe you didn't know about, and be able to hand that off and get you someone that can take care of that for you.
Yep.
Terrific.
Okay.
Well, maybe tell us a little bit about your local operation here. The area you serve Milpitas, San Jose.
So we have, right now we're currently running 4 trucks, and we serve most of Santa Clara and most of San Mateo County. So we have a pretty big service area.
Okay. All right.
Good. And what are some of the things that you hope to accomplish then with your business? Do you have any goals?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our number one goal is to become the wildlife trapping company in the Bay Area. You know what I mean? We want to be the household name. That's really what we're shooting for. We want, when you have, I have a raccoon problem. Hey, you know what? You should call Critter Control. You know what I mean? That's really what our goal is, to basically build a brand and become a household name.
Right. And then you personally, I mean, you talked about Little League and other things. What are your personal goals? What do you want to do?
I think my personal goals are probably, I definitely want to build my business, be successful, take care of my family, while also being able to give back to the community. I love coaching baseball, as Todd said. That's one of my passions, is baseball. And definitely love to be able to give back time and volunteer time to the community that I grew up in.
Chris, thanks for coming in and sharing a little bit more about what critter control is, educating us about you and your company, and thanks for giving back to the community as well. If folks have a question and want to get in contact with you, maybe they have a problem around their house or like someone to come out and take a look, how do they get in contact with you?
They can call me. Our phone number is 408-226-6162. You can go to our website at sanjose.crittercontrol.com, or you can shoot me an email at sanjose@crittercontrol.com.
Great, and I know you have a great website. It has all sorts of information about different critters and how to deal with those.
Yes.
Terrific.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you.
We served our country like those before us.
The camaraderie is what kept me going. You know, it was a dangerous area. All of Vietnam was dangerous.
I didn't know what to expect when I got back.
For the first 10 years after I got out, no one would have known that I was in the service.
I got home, got married 2 weeks later, got a job.
We came back, built lives, families, and communities, but we still had challenges.
The carnage of war left an indelible mark on me.
I would have intrusive thoughts. They're horrible nightmares.
Services and support that can help are available for veterans.
I went to the VA, talked to my doctor.
I started doing groups. I started doing one-on-one counseling.
We found ways to move past these challenges for ourselves and for our families. At MakeTheConnection.net, you can hear our stories and find tools and services available to you.
The more I talk to people, family, friends, other vets, the better I feel.
We're the rise to every challenge type. The nothing is impossible type. The type that knows the time will come when we put type 1 behind us. We're the plan for a cure type. The improved life along the way type. The type that will stop at nothing until type 1 becomes type none.
Lazy bones, loping through the day, always seem to find the easy way, moving like you're rolling grave. Never heard a word I say.
All over America, entire families are backsliding. We're no longer just sedentary, we're stationary, and that's bad news for your bones. At any age, bones need weight-bearing activity to grow strong and stay strong. So go outside, take the steps, play with the dog. Just get up, get out, get moving.
Never keep your bones that way. Never heard a word I say.
A public service message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
The United States Air Force has a proud history of leading our nation in embracing diversity. We've been reaching new heights for years by understanding it's our individual experiences which make us strong. You can share in this success by seeking opportunities to learn and grow as a member of a diverse team. We are the world's greatest Air Force, not because of what we do, but who we are. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Valley Homes on TV. I'm Debbie at the Heart Giordano, along with Todd Flesner. So
Yeah, we have our wrap-up.
we do. This is for the month of October, and got some information for buyers and sellers. We'll talk about potential sellers first. With the impending drought, one of the questions that homeowners have is, should I put in artificial grass versus having real grass? And I got this article out of the San Jose Mercury, which I thought is kind of cool. Back in 2007, we had 10 or 11 different grasses. Today, we have 24 different products of artificial grass.
Okay.
And here's a good comparison on whether you want to do artificial turf or natural grass. Natural grass costs about $1.50 to $2 square foot installed. Artificial grass is $8 to $14 a foot installed. So it's quite pricey, but then you look at the potential advantages. Natural grass provides familiarity, like a smell of cut grass, where artificial grass eliminates the need for pesticides, stays green all year round, low maintenance, and depending on the area, can improve your home value, actually. Maintenance, natural grass takes water, fertilizer, and reseeding and mowing. Artificial grass, you just need a little bit of water to wash away the dust and pollen and any litter from animals that has to be taken care of. And then environmental impact. Natural emits oxygen and it's biodegradable. Artificial conserves water and is not biodegradable, but will eventually end up in a landfill. So you have to think of those long-term impacts. And last but not least, potential problems. Natural grass has a continual need for maintenance and ongoing. Artificial concerns only about chemicals used in production and can separate if the actual grass will separate if it's not properly installed. So anyway, that's
Interesting. Thanks.
Yeah.
Because I've actually been thinking about that since we're in the middle of drought,
Right.
and I've got a brown lawn at this point in time. I've been wondering about that myself. Are there some advantages to going artificial versus?
And we might look to have somebody on the show next time that that is in that field.
I think I know a guy.
Perfect. I want to talk about rates. First of all, the stock market has been like a roller coaster.
A lot of
for the last-
volatility.
Right. So let me ask you about interest rates. First, so many people have refinanced. Let me go back a minute. It says in the San Jose Mercury in late August, interest rates fell to not much more than 4%. If we're in a recovery, then how come mortgage rates are not higher? And one of the reasons they give is that so many people have refinanced. Is that true?
A lot of people took advantage of the lower interest rates over the last couple of years. We have seen a dip here recently, and currently rates are as low as they've been in the last 18 months. But there's always supply and demand. And then interestingly, you talked about volatility in the stock market. We saw a little bit of a correction coming into the fall in the stock market. We saw a couple days 200, 300 point drops in the Dow. And that uncertainty causes what we refer to as a flight to quality. All right, the bond market, which is a little bit more stable, you know what the rate of return is going to be there in the bond market, and therefore folks were buying bonds as a cover for the losses in the stock market. When that happens, interest rates typically will go down because of that demand.
Well, and one of the other factors they give is real estate demand is down, and that's based on a national level, I think.
Yes.
So that would be true?
Yeah, across the country, if you look at what the number of sales or the sales volume is for real estate right now, we're at very, very low numbers historically.
Okay.
And if lenders want to be able to lend money, they have to keep the rates low, because at a little bit higher rate, folks just are not going to pay that rate.
All right, and a third reason is that cash sales continue to be a part of the marketplace. How does that
Correct.
affect interest rates?
Well, here in this area, cash sales are a piece of that market. again, it's that competition for where does money go, and if lenders want to be able to make money by lending, they have to keep rates low. One of the things that is happening is some people are going in and purchasing with cash, and then coming and getting a refinance or financing that purchase after close. And in fact, you can do a refinance within or finance a property within 60 days of closing and still take advantage of the same rules and tax deductions that you would get with a purchase money loan.
Okay.
All right, so some people are doing that.
One fourth condition, loan demand is down at the same time the marketplace is flooded with money. And they're talking about the chief economist that talks about that.
Right, and then there are also international pieces with that as well. We've seen in Europe that there's been concerns about the European economy, and some of the countries there, Spain in particular, has been one that's had some concern about what's happening with their debt and their ability to service that debt. And so, money looks for certainty as well. And so, the U.S. backed securities. Issuances of bonds, again, can be at a little bit lower rate to attract that the same investment dollar.
That's fascinating. You really have some great knowledge. Well, let me touch on the last one they put in here. Number 5, given the worldwide political climate, it's hard to imagine that more cash will not pour into the United States because our economy is seen as simply more secure than any number of overseas alternatives. Do you agree with that?
That's correct. Well, that's a little bit about what we just talked about there, about the Eurozone. Folks are talking about China, about being an emerging market, but, there are still concerns about that, political issues there, geopolitical concerns in places like Russia and the Middle East as well.
That all affects us.
Right. There were issues in Greece where Greece was looking at confiscating savings that people had in their bank accounts. And so that sort of uncertainty, again, drives investors toward the United States where there's that sense of security for their investments.
Wow. All that plays into interest rates, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Isn't that amazing?
We are interconnected in that way.
Great.
And, and so talking about interest rates, like I said, rates are at about 18-month lows, and we are right around 4%, give or take, on a daily basis for a 30-year fixed-rate loan with no points. And so for folks who perhaps were in a situation where they couldn't refinance before because maybe they didn't have some equity, the current increases in property values, they may be able to now refinance. It might be a good time to re-examine that.
Okay, great. Let's look at what property values are doing. Real quick, September of 20, let's look at September values. 2013 and the Milpitas market, the average sales price for a single-family home was $707,000. The median price was $649,000, and that has shifted to last month in September. I've got it right here. The average price is $802,000, and the median price is $749,000. So we had a nice bump. I think what I've seen generally, I'd say at least about $100,000 in the market over the last year. And then the condo market saw September 2013 an average price of $505,000 and a median price of $501,000, and that shifted to last month in September 2014 to $570,000 for an average price, and a median price is $596,000. So nice we should all bought condos 10 years ago, and we would be retired by now. So.
Well, we've seen a nice recovery in the real estate market.
We have. Yeah, it's been good.
So, well, terrific. Well, thanks for sharing the latest stats with folks. And if people have questions about the show?
Yes, they can email me at giordanodj@aol.com. And Todd?
T. Flesner at opusadvisors.com.
Perfect. We'll see you soon, and enjoy the nice weather.
Great. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.